Tough act to follow, Rabbi. Welcome back to the Mayo Center of the College of New Jersey, the new home for Har Sinai's high holiday services. I hope this beautiful facility will enhance our celebration of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and help us to renew our commitment to Judaism, our temple, and to each other as we begin the new year. The beauty and grandeur of our surroundings reminds me of our sanctuary and our building on Bellevue Avenue and of the high holiday services we celebrated there. When I was a boy, attending high holiday services at Har Sinai on Bellevue Avenue was a real event. It was a special experience. At the time, in the late 60s, early 70s, the sanctuary was usually filled to capacity. Literally every seat in the massive sanctuary, even the balconies, were taken. So much so that we held 2 services on the evenings of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to accommodate all the congregants who attended. Then we had more than 600 families as members. And to borrow an expression from last week from Rabbi Pollack, it was way cool to be a member of Har Sinai. It was a great place filled with energy and vitality. In fact, the crowds were so large that as the attendees of the early evening services departed and the later evening services arrived, the steps, the small plaza and sidewalks in front and around Bellevue Avenue were just overflowing with humanity as people came in and out of the sanctuary, exchanging greetings, stopping to talk, seeing friends and family. It was truly a wonderful and joyous scene. When we were 600 families strong, the members attending came and belonged to Har Sinai to enjoy our beautiful holiday and Sabbath services, to hear the wisdom of our great rabbis, Joshua Haberman and Bernard Perlmutter, to hear the angelic voice of Cantor Glatzer, to educate our children in Hebrew, Jewish culture, tradition, and history in our religious school, and to socialize and enjoy friends and family and special events, and to honor the memory of our dear departed at Yort site. But in addition to the spiritual, social, and educational sides of temple life, at that time, our members had more earthly, real-world purposes for being active members of Har Sinai. The survival of the state of Israel was very much on the minds of our members at that time. It is no exaggeration to say that in the late 1960s and early 70s, the members of our congregation and Jews all over the world wondered from day to day whether Israel would survive. It brought our congregation together. It galvanized our resolve to support Israel in its most darkest and difficult hours. And the focal point, the place where that unity and strength to support Israel came together, was through our temple and through the temples all across America. Israel received significant support from our congregation, financial, political, and moral. In addition, at that time, the horrific events of the Holocaust were not something that was a more distant memory or something our young people learned about in history books and films. The memory of the Holocaust was very real and painfully fresh in the minds of our members. It had happened only 20 to 25 years beforehand. Many of our members had family and friends who had been persecuted and murdered. And our congregation at that time was honored to be the spiritual home of a number of Holocaust survivors. The knowledge and memory of the Holocaust and the desire to ensure Israel's survival brought Jews together here at Har Sinai and at temples across the United States to ensure that we maintained our be united and strong and would stand up to those who wished us ill. The temple was truly an important central part of our lives. As time passed, some of these real-world issues and concerns that brought Jews together gradually became less pervasive. Of course, Israel remains important to all Jews, but it's now a military economic power, so we no longer worry if day to day Israel can survive. And the Holocaust, with all its horror, for many of our younger people is just a piece of history, something from the distant past. Many Jews became complacent, so that maintaining our culture, traditions, and our involvement in temple life gradually became less and less important. Involvement and membership in the temple became for many too expensive, required the commitment of too much time and effort. So today, tragically, a majority of people who identify themselves as being Jewish, both in our area and across America, have chosen not to be affiliated with a temple. Consequently, our membership and membership of temples all across the country has declined. And enrollment in our religious school and in the Jewish schools all over the state and country have also declined. The result has been that many temples with long, proud histories have been forced to close their doors or have been merged out of existence. And the result is that fewer and fewer parents are educating their children in Hebrew, Jewish history, culture, and traditions. And fewer Jewish children are celebrating bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And once the link in our cultural chain is broken, once a generation of our children are not educated by the parents and clergy in temples how to read and speak Hebrew, recite sacred prayers, understand our history, respect our culture, and honor our traditions, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to reestablish that link in the chain, that continuity that ties generation to generation. For those in our community who question the real-world importance and necessity of maintaining our temples as the center point of Jewish life, all you need to do is look, as the rabbi pointed out, the horrific events over the past summer in Charlottesville. I'm sure you looked all with disgust and disbelief as Nazis marched with armbands and torches through the streets of an American city, joined by the Klan and other white supremacist groups. If there was ever a time when American Jews needed to be united, organized, and strong to stand up and oppose the forces of prejudice and intolerance, it is now. And the temple has been and continues to be the focal point where Jews unite, organize, and stand strong against the forces of ignorance and hate. Now, for the people in this room, the fact that you are here tonight is significant. It shows you understand the importance of our faith, history, and traditions. You understand the importance of Har Sinai Temple and being a member of our congregation. You understand the need to be part of a temple and to participate in temple life, to maintain the continuity of not just our temple, but of the Jewish people, and to stand up and fight against those forces that oppose us. It is important that we in this room make a commitment to encourage other Jews to join us, to emphasize to them the importance of Judaism and of participating in temple life. We need to serve as advocates for Har Sinai and for all temples. I am sure most people in this room know friends and family who have left our synagogue and other synagogues due to the cost of maintaining membership, or due to conflicts with their activities or the activities of their children, and for other seemingly legitimate reasons. But we in this room need to remind those in our community who choose not to belong to a temple that there are very real and very substantial reasons for joining and maintaining membership in a temple and participating in temple life. I ask you to go out in our community, and when you have the opportunity, explain the things you already know. Talk about the quality of our religious school and our teachers. Talk about the quality of our B'nai Mitzvah program. which is second to none due to the exceptional work of Rabbi Pollack, Ganner Green, and the tutoring offered by Lisa Kimmelman. And talk about a special quality that our members tell me about all the time, that when they were searching for a synagogue to join, they decided on Har Sinai because here they felt welcome, here they felt at home, and here they felt accepted. The 600-family synagogue of Har Sinai of the 1960s and 70s, the congregation that I was privileged to be a part of when I was growing up, is now part of history. It still exists in the hearts and minds of those people from my generation who are fortunate enough to be a part of it. Today, our membership has gradually declined over the years, so that now we have just over 200 families as members. Our religious school is much smaller as well, the number of bar and bat mitzvahs declining. Consequently, our financial structure and our ability to continue as a congregation that has existed for 160 years is in jeopardy. The Board of Trustees is taking steps to reduce our operating budget by streamlining functions and servicing and reducing our debt by renting space in our building and working to sell a portion of our property, and where there are shortfalls, unfortunately taking money from our temple's endowment. Notwithstanding all these steps by the board, if membership continues to decline, we will not be able to continue our good work or provide the quality service to which our members are accustomed. And in fact, we may ultimately not be able to sustain ourselves. Last year, I asked your help to support Har Sinai during the 2016 High Holiday Appeal, and your response was truly overwhelming. Over the past 10 years, for most years, our High Holiday Appeal raised anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. In 2015, the amount increased to $22,000. But last year, through your amazing generosity, you raised on behalf of the temple $58,000, a record amount that has gone a long way in sustaining our temple and its programs over the past year. And the donations did not come from a handful of our members. In total, 113 separate donations were made to our 2016 High Holiday Appeal, reflecting the broad scope of participation by our members and our community. I now ask again for your help for the 2017 High Holiday Appeal. But I'm not only asking for your financial support. More importantly, I'm asking you to act, to speak up for, advocate, and champion Har Sinai Temple in our community, to encourage friends and family who are unaffiliated to become members of Har Sinai, and to enroll their children in our religious school, and to take pride in their Jewish heritage. Har Sinai Temple is important. The service that Har Sinai provides to our members in our community is important. The education Har Sinai provides to our children is important. The Jewish traditions and culture that Har Sinai seeks to preserve are important. Har Sinai Temple deserves our support. So please, please give as generously as you can to this year's High Holiday Appeal. Har Sinai Temple is a significant part of the history of the city of Trenton. And on West State Street, there is a large bronze plaque in front of the Mary Roebling building that proudly proclaims First Synagogue, Trenton's first Jewish organization, Mount Sinai Cemetery Association, formed November 19, 1857. Later known as Har Sinai Hebrew Congregation, began regular synagogue services at this site in 1860, and it concludes erected by the Har Sinai Temple Centennial Committee. In the years to come, I don't want my children and your children to walk by that plaque and suffer twinges of sadness and regret because that plaque is all that is left of our temple. I want our children to be able to stop and look at that plaque with the same sense of pride that I have when I walk down West State Street, knowing that I'm a member of a congregation where Jews have survived and prospered for 160 years. Many people over many generations, some of the parents and grandparents of the people in this room, made great sacrifices to keep Har Sinai Temple a place where they could worship, educate their children, celebrate bar and bat mitzvahs, and take pride in their Jewish heritage. May we have the will and determination to continue their work so that our children and grandchildren can have the same opportunity to worship and celebrate the high holidays as proud members of Har Sinai Temple in the years ahead. I wish you all a very happy and healthy New Year.